Thank you all for joining us. I'd like to welcome everybody here to the new Center for Healing by Life Path Systems. As you may or may not know, we created this in response to the May 6th shooting in Allen, as a response of how we can help the community come together and heal. Primarily several different sources of funding. When the event first happened, we jumped in and started helping out at the Outlet Mall and at the Family Assistance Center. And immediately there were several entities that came together to help us, so I'd like to recognize them. The United Way, the Vocal Majority, Preston Trail Community Church, and Communities Foundation of Texas all came together to provide initial donations for us to get started. Eventually that led to a Office of the Governor grant that we did to pull down some federal funds. It's Victims of Crime Act funds that we were able to capture in order to provide these services free of charge to our community. As the community mental health, intellectual disability provider, our job is to take care of the community. And so that can either be ongoing through our ongoing services, but when events like this happen, we want to help the community heal so that everybody can move through the trauma and hopefully not have longer term issues that we would have to address. And so that was our primary purpose for getting involved and pulling this together and trying to provide those resources to our community. So I just want to make everybody aware that it's not just therapy. We're here to provide education, outreach, coordination of services. You don't have to have significant issues. If anybody has family members, we're going to be doing a lot of outreach to just push information out there. So school teachers, parents, everybody knows that if they're concerned at all about anything going on with their loved one, to come in. It just may be a few group sessions of doing some art fun projects and parents getting some resources of knowing what to look for. And then it could be some more significant issues that we want to get involved in as soon as possible. We're also pulling together a planning committee, so if you or someone you know thinks that you may have some good feedback to give us as we evolve, this Center for Healing will probably be open for up to 5 years. That's kind of how the funding works. And we expect it to evolve over those 5 years. There may be certain needs in the community right now that are significantly different than a year from now or 2 years from now. And so we're going to need that community input to continue to let it evolve. And so if you know somebody out there in the community you think would be great on our planning committee, we would love for you to give us that information so that we can get them involved and make sure we're meeting whatever the need is and we're in touch with what the community needs. I think that's the main thing I have. I'm going to announce Tommy Berry, who is an Allen City Council member, and he's here to say a few words today as well.
Standing behind the podium, so if I can come in front, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'm an Aggie, so howdy. So I don't know if there's any Aggies in the room, but it's how we always start our conversation, so howdy. May 6th was an interesting day from the shoes that I stand in. Obviously, we know what happened at the Allen Premium Outlets on May 6th. What you may or may not recall was it was also Municipal Election Day. And it was the day in which I was elected to the Allen City Council. And at about 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, as I'm there at the polls with friends, with family, with my my opponent, with other candidates for other seats, we're just another election. It's election day. We're tired. We've been campaigning for months. We've had about 2 weeks of early elections, and we were done. We were ready. We had all kinds of weather spells that leading to that day, and it just all of us at that point were focused on win or lose. We were just ready to focus on something else. What we weren't prepared for is what we were going to be focusing on. It was obviously the moment the news broke, just kind of a shock and awe for all of us present there. What was beautiful was everybody there became, in our case, an Allen resident, became a community member. We no longer saw each other as opponents. We no longer saw each other as candidates. We saw each other as human beings. We saw each other as human beings who were trying to digest what was occurring. We have family members, For those who don't know, I'm a very proud husband. I'm also father of 7 children. So you can imagine any kind of situation like that, you want to know that your family is protected. During that incident, we thought at some point there were multiple shooters based on what was being reported on scanners. We came together, all of us. I put on a police scanner. We all gathered under one tent. We listened to the scanner for a while to try to get a sense of what was occurring. And then we, as the candidates, came together and prayed and holding hands. And that really kind of became, I think, a defining moment for the importance of recognizing, again, and we're reminding ourselves that at the end of the day, we're human beings and we are individuals. And it's so challenging in today's environment for us to forget that about ourselves, much less the person that we're engaging on social media with or about. Again, as a council member, extremely proud of how the city responded in any number of capacities, whether it was our sworn officers, our first responders, the 911 dispatchers, but also the business owners. One of the things that's so easy, and again, I know you guys don't take for granted, is just when you think about the different hats that the community members wear today, whether it's our sworn officers, our first responders, who every day have to see not just that kind of scene, but too unfortunate the results of people who are struggling with mental health, and they may be solo acts that occur in their homes or their apartments that our law enforcement have to witness. But it's also our business owners, our community owners. One of the things that the police department made aware of is we were very blessed in many ways not to have more victims at the shooting as far as physical victims. Obviously a lot of mental health victims, as you guys well know. And that was because the store owners in there had trained with the police and fire previously and quickly brought people in to the stores, and thousands of people disappeared and frustrated the shooter because of that, because all of a sudden they disappeared. But now we had obviously store owners who were suffering. What I would just want to thank everybody here for is too often we need bad stories to remind people that they are human beings. And that's something that all of you guys understand on a daily basis. And that's not something you have to remind on a daily. And I appreciate, as a member of the community, name tag or no name tag, what you do in serving the community in that capacity, reminding us that we are human beings. We do have yokes that we have to carry at different times in our lives. Sometimes we can't carry those yokes on our own, and we need other members of the community to do that. And I'm so thankful that you're here to do that. And I would just end by saying, as I'm really glad and thankful the way we've characterized this center as the center for healing, because when you look at it, one is, it's not a past tense, it's a present and future tense. And that's something we need. It's an action verb. It's something that we have to do. We have to be intentional. We have to be proactive. And it's a part of a journey. And you guys are the individuals, the stakeholders, and the people you'll be collaborating with and educating with are going to help other people heal through that entire process. So thank you for your role. Thank you for being a community servant. Thank you for making a difference. And thank you for remembering the fragile human aspects that all of us have. So thank you.
Now we're going to have Chief Doug Kowalski, who's also the board chair for the Life Path Board of Trustees, speak.
Thank you, Tammy.
You're welcome.
I will be brief. I know you say that's impossible for you, Chief. We've heard you speak before, but I really will be brief. I am very, very proud to be before you again as your chairman of your board of trustees, to get to speak to you, also to get to acknowledge what you all are doing. On May the 6th, we saw all the first responders rush in, the policemen, the firemen, the paramedics, and that is the beginning of a long healing process. So I'm very impressed that LifePath has stepped up to the plate and filled yet another gap, and that's the continuing healing. It's the injuries that folks normally don't see or associate as being the aftermath of a horrible tragedy and incident like this. It's the emotional and mental damage that occurs to the people involved, that entire community of Allen, the entire community of Collin County, quite a few responders came from all across the county to go to Allen and were involved in that. So it was a sad day, but once again, I'm proud to say that LifePath Systems is stepping up to the plate again to fill the gap in this long healing process, and we know it would take years. And I want to read to you a plaque. I know you all think I must be a professional reader. I'm always reading to you what someone else has written. But this one is for the Center of Healing. It says, "This Resiliency Center stands as a symbol of hope and healing for the community. In memory of the tragic shooting that occurred in Allen on May 6, 2023, we dedicate this space to the strength and perseverance of those who have been affected. May this Resiliency Center serve as the source of comfort and strength for generations to come. We honor the memory of those we have lost and stand in solidarity with our community as we move forward with hope and resilience." I don't know who's the wordsmith for this. Thank you. Thank you. You have a job in the police department. You won. And there's one last thing I want to do. I would be remiss. I need to recognize some folks here. Of course, you all know our CEO, Tammy Mahan, and my partner in crime here, in beard growing. Of course, he's excelled. There's a real winner back there. He's really got it. But Ernest Myers, who's one of your members of your board of trustees, is also a past chairman of the board. And he's my partner in crime and crime fighting, so I'm glad he's here. And one last thing I want to do, the most important folks that need to be recognized. Everyone who is an employee here, can you please raise your hand and be recognized? Raise your hand. Keep your hands raised. Okay. Now give yourself a round of applause. Go ahead. See, and that was a test. I said, keep your hands raised and give yourself a round of applause. And you're supposed to go like this. Thank you. One more round of applause for everybody. Thank you. You're already standing, so that's my standing ovation, and I will retire.
Very good.
Thank you.
If anybody would like tours, you're already in the space, but Debbie's going to be showing people around, maybe explaining certain highlights of the area. Otherwise, there's some cookies, beverages right here in the break room, and I think some other giveaways, some information back in the conference area in the other corner. So otherwise, thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you.